Welcome to the program. Now we'll begin with Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima and the conversation around his recent public remarks, considered by many as a veiled criticism of President Bola Tinubu's administration. The event was the public presentation of the book OPL 245, the inside story of the $1.3 billion oil block, authored by former Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Bello Adoke. Now, what began as a tribute to the courage and integrity of Adoke soon took a dramatic twist. Shettima's reflection about his bitter experience as governor of Borono State, narrating how he was marked as Nigeria's public enemy #1 in the height of Boko Haram attacks in 2014, and how he survived a plot by former President Goodluck Jonathan to remove him from office, failed following a bold legal advice from Adoke. Then House Speaker Aminu Tambuwal and others who told Jonathan he lacked the powers to remove an elected councilor, let alone a governor. Now, Shettima's account has now provoked strong debate in a political culture where personal ambition can hardly cohabit with loyalty, especially within the Nigerian political scene. Was the vice president criticizing the action of his own principal, President Tinubu, over his action in Rivers State and removal or suspension of Governor Sim Fubara from office? Well, the VP has now clarified that his speech was taken out of context. A presidency statement describes the media interpretations as, quote, gross misrepresentation and reckless endangerment of national cohesion. But could Kashim Shettima be making that statement and genuinely think that Nigerians will not link that to what happened in Rivers State? Or could it be political naivety, or he's just trying to play to the gallery?
No, I think he was quoted out of context. I was there. And he was trying to narrate how he came about knowing Adoke. And so while he was giving the narration, he was saying that their path crossed when he was declared enemy #1 and he was supposed to be removed by President Goodluck Jonathan. And Adoke, being the Attorney General and Minister of Justice then, insisted that no, Mr. President, you do not have the power to remove a sitting governor. You can only declare a state of emergency, and which means it is subjected to martial laws there, but not to remove the governor. You see, that was a saving grace for him. And as a saving grace, he felt Adoke did something good for him. And so they became friends. And similarly, in the same context, that's what he meant by calling the name of Tambuwal, because the House of Representatives also refused to agree that he should be removed. So these are the context in which he made the statement. But because we are now in a situation where such type of things happen, and the Vice President, don't forget, is a member of the Security Council. And being a member of the Security Council, and he has tested that law previously, and he was a beneficiary of that law, the general thinking within the Nigerian populace is that he should have advised that, look, being a victim of this law, this is how it should operate. So whether he advised or not, whether his advice was taken or not, is also another issue for deliberation someday. But let me add this thing. You know, stories in the Nigerian media space must be sensational, and it must carry some form of controversy for it to fly. You know, in our parlance, it is said that when a dog bites a man, it is not a story. But when a man bites a dog, it becomes a story. And now we are in a situation where people have shouted, loudly that the removal of the governor of Rivers State.
Suspension.
The suspension. Well, so whether suspension or removal, this is merely semantic.
Yeah.
When somebody is not performing the functions of his office, he has been removed.
Well, the presidency is not seeing it that way.
The argument can be whether it is permanent removal or temporary removal.
Well, and that's where suspension comes
in. But then in the Constitution, there is nowhere where anybody is given the power to suspend.
Yes.
It is it is only to remove. So if they have removed, he has been removed. And so the question now comes to mind as why is the presidency, since it's a single presidency, this is the major problem. When Kashim Shettima performs something wrong, it is not a single presidency.
Yeah, they will isolate
his office.
The presidency, and then of course focus on it.
But when it is Tinubu's office that are done wrong, they say it's single presidency. Both the office of the vice president, they have one mandate. That is when they will know that there is one mandate. So the question as it arises now is that Shettima has shot himself in the foot, not by making a consensual statement or a direct statement against his boss, but that a sleeping dog that was supposed to be left sleeping is now woken up.
And that's why I'm asking you, Umar Sani, because I've listened to you. I mean, I just took some time to really listen to you and to ask you that, having played politics for a very long period of time, do you, in your own honesty, think that that statement was based on the political naivety that the vice president is trying to make Nigerians believe, and it's not a shot at his principal or those surrounding his principal concerning reports that there are plans to actually drop Vice President Kashim Shettima? Knowing what the former national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, had done at the APC North-East Zonal meeting
in Gombe.
Yes. Don't you think that it could be a subtle way of sending a message, and that's how journalists and others are seeing it, back to the villa, that look, you can't just push me away?
The presidency has openly admitted that the declaration of state of emergency and removal of a sitting governor in Rivers State was unconstitutional. This admittance was made in a book launch by the Vice President Shettima. Whether the admittance was made consciously or unconsciously, the truth is that Shettima admitted that similar incident happened in the past, that he was the former governor of Borono State under the regime of Goodluck Jonathan, that Goodluck Jonathan had wanted to remove him as a sitting governor, but the then Attorney General of the Federation and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, they both opposed that decision and advised the president not to take such action, as such action is a total breach of the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, what else is this current presidency trying to defend? The presidency coming out to tell Nigerians that the Vice President Shettima was quoted out of context, whereas the Vice President cited typical practical example, whereas the Vice President Shettima cited typical similar incident in the past. So what else are they trying to defend? They should just owe up to their wrong. They should come out to admit that the removal of Governor of Rivers State was unconstitutional, and they take responsibility for such action. Please, if you are watching my video for the first time on YouTube, do well to hit the subscription button and turn on your notification so that you'll be the first to get notification on any new update. Thank you.